On April 19th, I meet up with some fellow packrafters at the Sandwash Launch Station, the put-in spot for Desolation and Grey Canyons. We only have a couple hours before dusk, so we just put in a few miles of paddling the flat water before finding a campsite. The next day we start bright and early to finish paddling through all the flat water before finally reaching the first few riffles. Here we're getting some nice scenery already.
Pretty scenery.
This was the first real rapid of the day. I believe it was Jack Creek Rapid.
Woohoo!
I know it may not look like much, but I think the GoPro just failed to capture how big any of these rapids really are. I'm not saying Jack Creek was really that big, but some of the later ones that I know for a fact were big still look small on the footage. So keep that in mind as you're watching. This rapid is called Firewater. And I believe this one is Ceder Ridge. The flows when we went were about 7,500 CFS, so I'm sure they can look drastically different with different flows. Still pretty early in the day, we pull over to have a good look at this petroglyph panel. Then we head back to the river.
Alright,
This one's
is
called Flat Canyon Rapid. There were like a bunch of other Class 2 rapids in this section, but I kind of lost track of which was which.
Woo!
The only time I took an unplanned swim the entire trip was on this clip. It wasn't even a rapid, it was just some water coming in from the right that created a strange cross current that I was totally unprepared for. I didn't have my bow bag stashed or anything.
Paddle!
Fortunately, it was no big deal. I was able to get back in my boat, get all my stuff back, and one of my friends grabbed my paddle for me.
Appreciate it.
And actually, the water wasn't even that cold. Here's a few other Class 2 rapids that I didn't bother learning the name of, but I sure enjoyed running.
Woohoo! Yeah. Right here.
Before too long, we pull over for our second night of camping.
Yep. We did like 30 something miles today. Pretty good. Like 35 or something.
We get a fairly early start on day 3, and before we know it, we're already launched into some rapids.
First rapid we've scouted because the beta says that there's a wave that will flip canoes and inflatable kayaks, but I don't know, it looks pretty straightforward to us, so guess we'll find out.
I was kind of late starting the camera for Marilynn's run, but as we suspected, the rapids seemed just fine. And then here goes my run.
Woohoo! Yeah! Nice!
A couple other class 2s.
Whee!
This rapid was one of the bigger ones. I know we scouted it from the shoreline, and it became my favorite one that we have done so far.
Woohoo! Yeah! Yeah, buddy! Woohoo! Woo! Woohoo! This one's wire fence.
Wire fence can be drastically different at different flows. In the conditions we had, it was all about just choosing the right line.
I don't know if I'm going the easy way or not, but Maralynn went this way, so it can't be that easy.
In this case, staying a little bit right.
Yeah, it's probably the easy way. A little splashy, but pretty good.
Three Fords was definitely the most intimidating to approach. The first wave was steep and a lot larger than it looks in this camera.
Woo! Woohoo! Here's a biggie. Hard to make any forward progress.
That afternoon the wind really picked up. There was one area that had a headwind so strong that it took me over 10 minutes of intense paddling just to get about 100 yards.
Hopefully it dies down soon. Almost to the rapid. Nice. Current's supposed to grab me. Oh, good. The current's kind of grabbing me now. That was so much paddling. Oh my gosh. Whoa! Splash-tastic. Here comes a group down this rapid. What's this one called?
Coal Creek.
Coal Creek.
Coal Rapid? Coal.
Oh, they're like kind of going right for the hole.
No, they're doing the line that I want to do.
They kind of barely missed it, yeah.
You can see they're not moving and they're already left on the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Even though Coal Creek Rapid wasn't the biggest waves or anything, I think it had the smallest margin for error. There were a lot of obstacles that needed to be avoided, and once we were out on the water, it wasn't always easy to tell what was what.
Not really sure what's what.
But in retrospect, I couldn't have been happier with my line.
Woohoo! I hit that like a champ.
A couple more Class 2 rapids.
Yippee! Woohoo!
And then we find a camp for our third and final night.
Monday morning, we're getting ready to launch. Only like just over 10 miles to go. Pretty small day.
Up first on our last day is Rattlesnake.
Trying to reduce splash. Whoa, baby! Woo-hoo! Woo! Wow! Pretty big for a Class 2. Gotta get out of those rocks. Whoa, that was a good splasher.
After that, there's just a couple Class 2s.
Woohoo!
But one pretty big surprise wave that was pretty fun to ride.
This one looks pretty big. Woohoo! Woohoo!
One more rapid.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
And then we've hit Swasey's beach. We're done.
End of the line. I got a whiz.